Occasionally, life provides signs you cannot disregard. Small events appear like random coincidences, even when you are not searching for them. You might notice a different kind of silence or a message that almost arrived, but never did. A specific presence appears at the exact moment you decide to move forward. There is a very particular point in every deep connection where nothing seems to have changed on the outside, yet inside, everything has shifted. You have likely felt a restlessness for days or even weeks. This feeling is not fear, but a strange certainty. It is as if the air around you has become thicker. Memories, feelings, or the sudden sense of someone who is not physically there come to you unexpectedly. I want you to take a second to breathe and listen to what your heart has been saying for a long time. Even if your mind tries to block it out, what you are perceiving is not a fantasy or a simple coincidence. What you feel is real. That light pressure in your chest and that new vibration are not just your imagination or a desperate wish for things to be different. It is proof that the invisible bond between two souls has tightened. Today, I want to speak to you about the person who tried to hold back, but now feels something they can no longer hide, even from themselves. They have a real fear of losing you. This is not the selfish fear of wanting to own someone. It is something much deeper and more natural. When someone who carries your energy in their soul feels they are truly losing you, something wakes up inside them. It is a sudden, uncomfortable, and unwanted awakening. For a long time, this person may have lived with the arrogant belief that you would always be there, waiting and keeping the light on, while they decided if it was safe to get closer. But energy does not stay the same. The moment you changed and your energy stopped waiting, you sent a shock through the connection that hit the center of their world. It does not matter how much this person tried to hide it, how much pride they built, or how many logical excuses they made to avoid feeling. There is a moment on this path when the soul stops listening to the mind. In that moment, the soul hears the emptiness and is faced with the real and scary possibility that you might not be in their future. That is exactly what is happening right now. While you are hearing this, you do not need a missed call or a long text to know it is true. You know it because soul connections do not follow calendars or logic. They follow a vibration. When the other person's soul feels it is about to lose its energetic home, it begins to move. What you will learn today will help you understand why this shift is happening now and why it affects you so deeply. We often think that silence means the end or that distance means forgetting. But in the world of energy, silence is often the place where the biggest changes happen. The person who seemed cold, distant, or confused is now entering a time where they must face the truth. Their usual distractions no longer work. Ignoring their own feelings no longer works. Something is pushing them toward an unexpected move. This reaction does not come from their conscious will, but from a deep need to find the balance that you changed when you stepped back. To understand why this fear of losing you is so strong and why it will cause something unexpected, we must first understand what you have done. Perhaps without knowing it, you changed the rules of the game forever. If you are ready to accept this truth in your life, write in the comments, "I am taking my power back." You are changing too, and that is a main part of the whole story. For a long time, your energy was likely pointed outward, always moving toward this person. It was an energy of waiting, doubting, and constant questioning. Maybe you spent nights wondering if they felt something, if you were remembered, or if you mattered. This vibration, which came from love, was often felt on the other side as a demand or a pressure that actually gave the other person enough security to stay still. As long as you carried the connection alone, the other person did not have to hold anything. But something happened. You learned to choose yourself more, perhaps without even trying. You started to pull your energy back, not to punish them, but as an act of self-love. The moment you return to yourself, the vibration changes completely. This is known as the physics of emptiness in spiritual relationships. Nature and the human soul do not like empty spaces. When you stop chasing and no longer act from a place of need, a hole forms in the relationship. Before, this space was filled with your persistence and constant attention. Now, there is silence. But it is not a hollow silence. It is an inner absence. I want you to truly understand the difference because it is very important. Physical absence means not seeing each other. Inner absence happens when you are no longer looking for their approval. It is the moment you let go emotionally and focus on your own center. This absence is exactly what hits the other person now, because you previously gave them the total certainty that you were available. Imagine two people holding a tight rope. If you always pull, the other person only has to resist. They do not have to work to hold it. The moment you let go of the rope to take care of your own hands, the other person loses balance. They stumble and feel the missing support, which becomes a mirror of their own truth. Without your constant energy feeding their ego, this person is forced to create their own energy to face their loneliness. They ask themselves why the world suddenly feels colder. They feel that your heart no longer gives itself away like it used to, and that shakes them more than any physical distance. Emotional absence is much stronger than silence. A person can get used to you not writing, but they cannot get used to no longer having a special place in your inner world. At this point, the law of balance starts to work. By pulling back your attention, you stop pushing. When you stop pushing, the other person stops running. There is nothing left for them to fight against. When the wall falls, they are faced with their own feelings. It is as if life says that now you are ready for what belongs to you to move. This movement comes from discomfort. The emptiness you left behind needs to be filled. Since you are no longer willing to fill it with small efforts, only the other person is left to fill it. That is why you feel this restlessness now. You feel their energy looking for you. Even if they say nothing, they are unsettled inside. They look at things they used to ignore and think about what they once took for granted. Your withdrawal did not break the connection. Instead, it cleared out the noise and left this person alone with a truth they avoided for a long time. This truth acts like a mirror that shows them the parts of themselves they kept in the dark. To understand why this person is reacting now, we must look at the shadow and the mirror. Every person carries a shadow, which is like an invisible bag where we store things we do not want to admit about ourselves. This is where our fears and insecurities go. When this person pulled away or acted cold, they were not really reacting to you, but to their own shadow. The fear of losing you is now coming out to reveal something that has always been there, but was hidden behind old wounds. As long as you were chasing them, you were a place for them to put their own fears. If they were afraid of getting close, they could tell themselves you were too intense. Their mind used your presence to justify their fear. Now that you have pulled away, you have taken away the screen they used to watch their inner movie. Now they sit alone in the theater. They are forced to face parts of themselves they never wanted to see. This process is very intense. There is a fascinating idea that explains why they feel they are losing you specifically. Deep in their mind, you represent an image of their own soul. We often look outside for what we have lost inside. Your energy and your way of loving represent a part of them that they have hidden. Maybe you represent the vulnerability they do not show. That is why when you leave, they do not just feel the loss of a partner. They feel as if a part of their own identity is being taken away. The fear of losing you is an awakening. They are starting to see that you are not replaceable. They realize that what they felt with you will not happen with anyone else. This realization is heavy because it shows what truly matters. Their shadow, which once told them to run away, now tells them that true safety was in the connection they ignored. They realize it was not a lack of love, but an inability to handle what they felt. This inner conflict is a battle between their ego, which wants control, and their deeper self, which sees a home in you. When someone lives in fear, they act like they do not care, but when the soul senses the risk of loss, that fear loses power. This essential part of them now goes through memories and thinks about words that seemed small before. They relive scenes that now feel like important pieces of a puzzle. It is as if life is showing them what they failed to value. This does not bring them peace right away. It brings tension and conflict. They feel torn. Their old self wants to stay distant, but a deeper force pushes them back toward you. This inner split triggers behaviors that go beyond simple sadness. What they are going through is a major change. Even if they hide it behind a normal face, there are signs you will recognize. External silence does not mean internal calm. From the outside, everything might look the same. They might go to work or see friends and look stable. Yet, this image is very weak right now. They are experiencing mental and emotional chaos. This person is discovering that you cannot run away from something you carry inside. The restlessness has become a constant presence that ruins their peace. One of the clearest signs of this awakening is a change in sleep. It is very likely this person is having trouble sleeping or is waking up very early, usually between 3 and 4 in the morning. This is a time when the mind's defenses are low. When the logical mind sleeps, the soul takes over and starts to speak. They wake up with a heavy feeling in their chest and a fear that has no obvious cause. In those quiet moments, their thoughts go to you. They can no longer distract themselves. The weight of your absence feels real. During the day, their mind works against them. They have thoughts of you that break their focus. They might be driving or talking to someone when an image of you suddenly appears. These are not chosen thoughts. They are memories that invade their mind. They do not remember the fights. They remember the warmth and the safety you gave them. Their memory starts to rewrite the story, leaving only the truth of the bond. This is painful because it is so different from their current life where you are no longer there. In our modern world, this unrest shows up in digital behavior. Since pride prevents them from calling you, they look for relief by checking on you online. You might sense that this person is following your steps on social media. They do not leave likes because that would mean admitting you matter, but they watch. They check your stories and see if you are online. They reread old messages to feel your energy. This is not just curiosity. It is a need to make sure you still exist in their world. When they see you doing well or looking calm, they feel both relief and fear. They are relieved you are still there, but scared you are happy without them. This silent watching is their way of staying connected without being vulnerable. However, it only makes them want you more. Seeing you without being able to reach you makes the emptiness deeper. He or she looks for signs that you are still waiting, but when they feel your new independence, their fear grows. They are forced to face the fact that their time is running out. This inner storm becomes so strong that it starts to cross over to you. Energy is like water. When it is blocked, it finds a new way out. Since regular talking is blocked, all this unspoken pain moves through invisible channels. You stop being just an observer and start to feel their awakening in your own body. In a deep connection, the lines between what you feel and what they feel become blurry. There are things the mind cannot explain, but the heart knows instantly. To understand what is happening to you, remember that you share a common emotional space. It is like an underground lake connecting two wells. When one person throws a stone, the ripples reach the other side. It does not matter how much distance is between you. You might have sudden mood changes for no reason. You might feel a deep sadness or an unexplained fear in your stomach. Most of the time, these feelings are not yours. You are picking up the emotional storm of the other person. This sadness is their pain over what they lost. This fear is their worry that it is too late. This wave of love is the moment their defenses drop. This emotional connection is the strongest proof that the bond is still alive. The invisible thread has not broken. Life confirms this through signs. His or her name appears in random places. You hear a special song right when you think about letting go. You see repeating numbers like 11 or 11 on the clock. These are signs that the process is moving. Even your dreams become a meeting place. During the day, their ego tries to keep control, but in sleep, the soul is free. You might dream of them very clearly. These dreams feel more real than regular life. In these dreams, the talking is easy. There are hugs and apologies. These are real meetings where your souls are working things out before they happen in real life. If you have felt emotions that are not yours or seen signs everywhere, you can share it by writing, "I perceive it," in the comments. This helps you trust your intuition. All these signals are meant to prepare you. They happen to make you aware that the energy is reaching a breaking point. The pressure is at its maximum. The resistance this person has held for so long is being worn down by the truth. Just before the dam breaks, you will likely see one last confusing event. The night is darkest, just before the sun comes up. Before a person gives in to love, the ego fights its hardest battle. This is the part where most people lose hope and walk away, right when the change is about to happen. You might see this person move even further away or become colder and meaner. They might block you or act like they do not care at all. This behavior does not mean they have forgotten you. It is actually the final sign that their ego is falling apart. Imagine a rubber band being pulled. To snap forward, it must first be pulled back as far as possible. What you are seeing now is that final tension. Their ego feels a threat. It knows it is losing the battle against its own feelings. Their love for you has become so strong that it ruins their sense of control. They react with a final act of defense. They are not fighting you, they are fighting themselves. Their coldness is a desperate way to try and convince themselves that they do not need you. Admitting they need you would mean admitting they were wrong and afraid. This is your test. Do you trust what you see or what you feel? If you chase them now, you let them go back to being comfortable, but if you stay calm, the pressure will finish its work. The bigger the silence on the outside, the louder the scream on the inside. This person is living a lie. Their body wants you while their mind tells them to stay away. It is an inner war. Acting like you mean nothing is exhausting. No one can wear that mask forever. The energy of the connection is like water behind a wall. You can build the wall higher with pride, but if the river keeps growing because of real love and the emptiness you left, the wall will break. When it happens, it is not quiet. It is an inner shake that forces them to stop lying. The person who used masks and distance is suddenly overwhelmed by a force they cannot stop. They understand that the cost of control was too high. The wall breaks because the soul gives them no other choice. What follows is the move you have been sensing, a sign or a message that is truer than anything before. They come back because they realize they can no longer ignore the bond. The truth has reached them, and it brings them back to you with the knowledge that you are the place where their soul can finally breathe. Once the wall finally breaks, the transition from resistance to action begins. This person who spent so long running now enters a stage of deep reflection where they look at the wreckage of their own pride. They start to realize that the silence they used as a shield has actually become their prison. In this new phase, the fear of losing you turns into a powerful motivation to make things right. They no longer ask themselves if they should reach out, but how they can possibly bridge the gap they created. This is a time of extreme vulnerability for them. They are like someone stepping into the light after being in a dark room for years. Every memory of you that they tried to push away now returns with a new clarity, and they begin to see the value of the connection not as a burden, but as the most precious thing they own. As they move closer to you energetically, you might feel a sudden sense of peace replacing the restlessness you felt before. This is because the tug of war has ended. They have stopped pulling away and the rope is no longer tight. You might notice that your own desire to check on them or look for signs starts to fade, not because you stopped caring, but because you intuitively know that the search is over. The energy is now flowing in one direction toward a physical manifestation. During this time, the person may start making small, indirect gestures to test the waters. They might interact with an old mutual friend, show up in places they know you frequent, or post something specifically intended for your eyes. They are seeking a safe way to return without the ego being completely destroyed, even though the soul has already surrendered. The final step in this process is the direct breakthrough. This is when the person finally finds the courage to speak their truth. It usually happens when they realize that the pain of your absence is much greater than the fear of being seen. When they finally reach out, the conversation will likely feel different than any before. It won't be about the old excuses or the surface-level drama. Instead, there will be a weight of honesty in their words. They might not have all the right things to say, but you will feel the shift in their vibration. This is the moment where the healing of the connection truly begins, and where you both are given the chance to build something new on a foundation of truth rather than shadows. You have held your space and reclaimed your power, and now the universe is bringing the results of that inner work into your physical reality. This movement toward you is not a slow walk, but a sudden realization that time is running out. When a person reaches the edge of their own resistance, they experience what is known as a point of no return. They look at their life and realize that all the things they chose instead of you, their work, their distractions, their need for control, feel empty. The fear of losing you has finally done its job. It has stripped away the lies. Now they are in a state of deep preparation. They are rehearsing the words they want to say and trying to find the right moment to step back into your life without the weight of their past mistakes. This person is currently dealing with a deep sense of regret, not as a punishment, but as a teacher that shows them exactly where they went wrong. You will notice that as they prepare to act, your own energy becomes very quiet. This is the ultimate sign that the cycle is closing. You are no longer sending out feelers or searching for them because the connection is now being led by their effort. You may even find yourself feeling a bit indifferent, which is the most powerful position you can be in. This indifference is not a lack of love, but the total absence of need. By being in this state, you create a massive magnetic pull. The person feels this shift and realizes that if they do not move now, the door might close forever. This urgency is what finally breaks the last bit of their pride. They understand that you are moving forward with or without them, and the thought of a world where you are truly gone is more than they can handle. The actual return often happens in a way that seems ordinary but feels heavy with meaning. It might be a simple hello or a question about something minor, but beneath the surface, it is a total surrender. They are checking to see if the bridge is still there. When this happens, it is important to remember that you are the one who set the new tone. You do not need to jump back into the old ways of chasing or over-explaining. The shift occurred because you chose yourself, and the only way the connection stays healthy is if you continue to choose yourself. This person is coming back to a new version of you, and they must rise to meet that version. The bond is being rebuilt, but this time, the rules are defined by respect and balance rather than fear and distance. As this person prepares to step back into your world, they are going through a process of shedding their old skin. They are beginning to understand that the person they were when they walked away cannot be the person who returns. This is why the wait may have felt long. They had to break down their own walls before they could build a new bridge to you. They are currently looking at you with a new sense of wonder and respect. By choosing yourself, you have shown them a strength that they find incredibly attractive but also intimidating. They are no longer coming back to someone they can take for granted, but to a person who knows their own worth. This shift in power is what ensures that the new connection will be based on equality rather than one person carrying the whole load. In these final moments of separation, the energetic pull becomes almost physical. You might feel a sudden warmth in your heart or a sense of being watched even when you are alone. This is their soul reaching out to yours, trying to find a soft place to land. They are looking for a sign that it is safe to be honest. While they are still terrified of rejection, the pain of the current distance has become much worse than the fear of a no. They are reaching a state of total transparency. All the games and the need to look cool or detached have burned away in the fire of their own longing. They are ready to show you their true face, including the parts of them that were too afraid to love you properly the first time around. When the breakthrough finally occurs, it will feel like a sudden release of pressure. The air will feel lighter, and the confusion that has followed you for months will disappear in an instant. This reunion is not just about two people coming together again. It is about the birth of a completely different dynamic. You have taught them how to treat you by how you treated yourself during the silence. As you move into this next chapter, you will find that the communication is deeper and the honesty is more natural. The fear of loss has been replaced by a deep appreciation for what was almost gone. You have both been changed by this journey, and the love that remains is now tempered like steel, stronger, more resilient, and ready to face the real world without the need for masks. As the connection enters this final stage of arrival, the person is beginning to realize that their old ways of living no longer fit who they are becoming. They are standing at a doorway, looking back at the time they wasted and looking forward to the chance to be near you again. This is a very quiet and serious moment for them. They are no longer distracted by the noise of their social life or the false comfort of their own ego. Instead, they are focused on the reality of your value. They see now that while they were busy protecting themselves from getting hurt, they were actually hurting themselves by staying away from the one person who truly understood them. This regret is turning into a powerful fuel that drives them to take a real and permanent action. You will notice that during this time your own intuition becomes very sharp. You may start to feel a sense of completion, as if a long book is finally reaching its last chapter. You no longer feel the need to ask for advice or look for external validation because the truth is sitting right in your heart. You are in a state of grace where you are happy regardless of what they do, and ironically, this is exactly what makes them move faster. Your lack of desperation acts like a vacuum that pulls them in. They can feel that you are no longer holding on to the rope, and the fear that you might actually be fine without them is the final push they need. They are ready to trade their pride for a seat at your table, and they are coming with a spirit of humility that you haven't seen before. The final manifestation is about the integration of everything you both have learned. When you finally come face to face or voice to voice, there will be a moment of recognition that goes beyond words. It is the feeling of two travelers meeting after a very long and difficult journey. The conversation won't just be about the past, it will be about the future. They will likely express a desire to do things differently this time and to build a space where both of you can be seen and heard. This is the reward for the work you did in the silence. You didn't just wait for them to come back. You grew into a version of yourself that could handle a healthy relationship. The invisible thread has done its work, pulling two souls through the darkness and into a shared light that is now steady.